Palm Desert, California. You're on In Depth with Christopher Hitchens.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hitchens. The idea that we were made by a God seems to me harmless enough in and of itself. The problem I see is with all the baggage that commonly rides on the back of that belief. That is adherence to a rigid body of doctrine or dogma, and obedience to an authority that claims God as its provenance. All through history, we've seen how that baggage has been abused in every faith that claims to be the true one. But I wonder if you wouldn't think that it might be possible to believe in a God and not be led by the nose, and isn't that the argument we ought to be having?
Well, yes, and we touched on it a little earlier in the distinction I made when talking of Thomas Jefferson and Thomas Paine between deism and theism. There are those who say, well, look at the natural world, the order of the universe, etc., etc. You can't picture it without having some originating creator. But if suppose you granted that deistic assumption, your work as a theist would be all still to come. You still have to prove this God knows you're here, or cares that you are, or is going to intervene in your life, or would answer your prayers, or even listen to them. That still hasn't even been properly suggested, let alone proved. So that might help to eliminate the distinction. However, if people say that we are literally made, in other words, with a purpose, fashioned by God, I think they commit two errors right away, which I'm sorry I think do lead to all the garbage and baggage that you identify, and to some worse stuff too. Here's why. It's at once, it's too masochistic and it's too solipsistic. In other words, it makes you, as the Quran says, fashioned from a clot of blood, or the Bible says from dust. That's what you are, but incidentally, with original sin stirred in. So there you are, effectively a worm, the prisoner of an omnipotent dictator. But, as if to compensate for that sort of abject, groveling analysis of your condition, you're told that the whole universe is all about you, and that the God has a plan with you in mind, and that you're in some sense the center of things as well. Now, both of these things are extraordinarily unwholesome for the human personality, and they also are remarkably out of conformity with anything we can recognize as cosmic or global reality. Okay? That's why the religion really began to decline when it was revealed that the sun does not go around the earth, and by analogy and in general that we are not the center or the object of things. The Big Bang did not occur so we could be here. The process of evolution did not occur so I could be sitting here now. We get over that idea, these crazy self-centered ideas masquerading as humility and modesty, we'd be intellectually and morally much better off right away.
The word, the concept of solipsism comes up a lot in your writing. What does it mean, and why do you use it?
It means the belief that no one is important except you. So I have to use it a lot because it's a very commonly encountered belief. And very often, of course, the people who have it don't realize they've got it. So it's your agreeable job to point it out to them. That's what they're suffering from.
Next call for Christopher Hitchens, who was born in Portsmouth, England in 1949, Buffalo, New York.
Yes, I have two statements, and I think the reason you have trouble with your belief system, Christopher, is because you didn't get a chance to form one as when you were young. You got sent to a boarding school, apparently, and so you didn't really have a belief system. I remember being 8, and I wondered how a lady could have a baby. It was a movie, and without a doctor. And I thought the people in the movie were lying to me because it couldn't happen. There was no doctor there. I had no understanding of it, so therefore it seemed a lie. But I tell you, faith comes from experience. The people are not reading things and believing it. It comes from experience. I saw my mother pray, so that's where I learned it from. I saw her pray every night, kneeling, until she got too old to get up. Then she would kneel in bed. Then I had to try it for myself because I got so sick and I couldn't get well. And I finally did get well. It was a mental thing, and I finally recovered. And it took some months to do it, or a lot of long weeks, but I just woke up one day and I was well. But my real shown-up belief in God came when I had an instantaneous healing. I was at home alone, sick again, and I just prayed and asked God to come sit beside me and help me, and it was to Jesus. And I felt the heat like they always explain it was, come over me. And I mean, it was momentarily. I was sick one minute and well the next, and I just got up and went to sleep, and the next day I went to work. I was totally, instantaneously healed. Black people have to believe in God, or else we'd still be in slavery. There is a God. You just don't know. And if you want to know if it's true, put it to the test. Try it. Pray sometime and see if anything happens. It's happened enough for me that I can't have a doubt. And the same is with psychic phenomena. If something has happened to you, a thing happens, and then it comes to pass. You dream a thing, and it comes to pass more than once. It has to be a fact. It can't be a lie.
Thank you, caller. No response?
No, I take it as a comment.
Have you ever prayed?
No.
What do you say to...
No, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I mean, one was forced to pray several times a day, but some of the things you had to say aloud. The Nicene Creed, for example, or sometimes the Apostles' Creed, and the Lord's Prayer, and so forth. So yeah, I've intoned that, yes. And then I discovered that they can make you come to church, but they can't actually make you pray. You don't have to do that. And I stopped. I stopped singing the hymns, and I wouldn't kneel or bend forward when it was prayer time. And there was nothing they could do about that, because the law only says you have to go. It doesn't say you've got to believe.
In the New Yorker profile...
But I would feel ashamed of myself if I did pray, because that is what solipsism, I'm afraid that's what the lady was suffering from there too, for all her obvious, sweet and genuine character. She thinks the world is all about her, and that Jesus is listening in case she has anything to say. It sounds so modest, doesn't it? So humble. It's an incredibly arrogant claim, as well as an absolutely ludicrous one. If people got well by praying, ma'am, I suppose I have to say this to you, we wouldn't be in the case that we are, with so many people desperately sick.
Why do you think...
Beyond the reach even of the skilled medicine, which is the only hope of a cure. It is not that is not how people get better. It's,
Why do you think then that over 1 billion people on this earth think there's some kind of a higher power?
I don't know that they do, but I think that the reason would be, let's grant that they really do believe this, and give them credit for sincerity in the belief. My analysis in my book is this: we are pattern-seeking animals. It's a good thing about us that we look for patterns, we look for recurrences and consistencies and so forth. And it's a weakness as well as a strength, because for example, we prefer a conspiracy theory to no theory at all, but we do look for patterns, and it's quite difficult for us to imagine that we don't know the cause of things, or the first cause. We'd like to think we could find that out. And we also have, it's very easy to persuade us that things are all about us, and that we're the object of all this. So if people say, well, look, the stars move in a predictable way, the seasons move in a predictable way, there must be some system here, it must mean something, it must have been started by someone. Now, as you know, all of these are completely unwarrantable assumptions, but the counterintuitive is the problem with the truth of it. And not only that, but I might be the winner in this destiny, and it might be all about me, and my God might turn out even to be the strongest one.